All right, guys, today we have some big news coming out of the LEC. This is a story that has been developing for a while now. I remember back this past offseason, it feels like even like September, October, November, we were talking all the time about how Rogue was trying to leave the LEC. Rogue was wanting to leave the LEC. We kept being like, oh, maybe this weekend, maybe this next week, maybe this next month, we'll get news about who's going to be replacing Rogue, or once Rogue has sold, or whatever. It has been a very, very long and drawn out story, and that is kind of a disservice to the LEC, obviously, because you want teams in your league that actually want to be there. You want teams that are actually trying. You want teams that actually care. You want teams that are actually trying to improve and build for the future and get better and better and compete at the highest level. And obviously, if you have a team or an organization with one foot out the door, that's not necessarily the best for your competitive region. But finally, after months and months and months and months, it seems like this thing is finally coming to a conclusion, and it's honestly a very, very exciting one, or at least I think people should be pretty excited about this. But here we have it from Sheep Esports and Alejandro. Sources, Na'Vi are set to replace Rogue in the LEC starting this summer split. So every once in a while, we see these deals get done, we see these sales, we see these organizational switch-ups, and you sometimes have to wait until the next year, and that would be kind of lame if we find out this news in May, but then we don't actually get to see Not As Vincere in the LEC until like January of 2026. That would suck. I honestly think this is a much better, more exciting, cooler way to do it, where we're getting to see Na'Vi in as soon as the summer split. Now, obviously, it is a little bit weird that this team is Rogue in like the first half of the year and then Na'Vi in the second half of the year, but whatever. It is what it is. Sometimes you got to figure these things out as you go, but this is very, very exciting because not only, as like I said, we're getting a new LEC team to replace Rogue, who wasn't, even that interested in being in the LEC at this point, whatever, but also Not As Vincere is like an elite esports organization. They are competitive in most everything they do, or they at least try their very best to be competitive in most everything they do. I know a lot of other people have said it's very exciting to be getting some Eastern European or some more Eastern European influence and kind of representation in the LEC, which, is mostly kind of been lacking in the Eastern European part of stuff. So that's going to be very, very exciting as well. Na'Vi has a storied esports history. They have a big fan base. They have big name value. They have money. They're going to come in and hopefully be doing some very, very exciting things. So here is that article from Alejandro Gomes on sheepesports.com. Sources, Not As Vincere set to replace Rogue in the LEC starting with the summer split. Sheep Esports currently holds no concrete information concerning the future of Rogue's players. Now, I know when I talked to Eros for a video a couple days ago, he was talking about how it does seem like, at least for the time being, Not As Vincere will have to respect the contracts of a lot of the Rogue players. And, you have some players like Larson who have really expensive contracts, allegedly, or, based off the numbers or whatever, to where it's going to maybe be hard to get rid of them or expensive to get rid of them or whatever. But so far, we don't have any concrete info. Obviously, that will be a very, very big thing to see what kind of roster construction and roster utilization that Na'Vi will do, not only going into the summer split of 2025, but also more specifically into the offseason of 2026, where things could start to get a lot more crazy and they could, start spending and doing some moves and kind of really implementing their own staff and roster and all that good stuff, their own philosophy around League of Legends roster building. So the LEC is poised for a significant transformation, according to Sheep Esports sources. Na'Vi, more widely known as Na'Vi, Not As Vincere, is confirmed to be acquiring Rogue slot in the LEC. As previously suggested by Sheep Esports, the Ukrainian organization is expected to replace the summer 2022 champions beginning with the summer split. Per sources, the official announcement is anticipated at the end of the current split. Sheep Esports currently holds no concrete info regarding the future of Rogue's players or its coaching staff. The development marks the conclusion of a lengthy saga that began in November 2023. That's insane, where Team Falcons first attempted to acquire Rogue slot, only to be denied by Riot. Nearly a year later, in October of 2024, Enigma also made an attempt, but negotiations ultimately failed to reach an agreement. So, this is not necessarily the first time that has tried to swoop up Rogue spot in the LEC. Obviously, the LEC is like a premier esports league. Tons of people want to get in. So it's not really a surprise there. Once regarded as one of the premier teams in the EMEA League of Legends circuit, Rogue is now on the verge of exiting the league through a quiet and discreet departure. The org, which had therefore been actively seeking to sell its slot since late 2023, assembled its 2025 roster at the last minute due to the absence of a buyer. On paper, the roster appeared potentially promising, notably featuring the reunion of Malrong and Larson, yet the lineup never found its footing. Rogue concluded both the first two splits of the 2025 season in last place. This is, really a sad note for Rogue to be going out on for sure. Following an already unsuccessful 2025 2024 campaign, where they finished 9th in winter and spring and 10th in summer. Na'Vi will be the first new addition to the LEC since K-Corp joined at the beginning of 2024, taking over Astralis' slot. Although the team might not ring a bell for many League of Legends enthusiasts, the Ukrainian org is very popular and holds a prestigious spot within the broader esports landscape. Established in 2009 with a focus on CS, Na'Vi quickly rose to prominence and has remained a powerhouse in the scene ever since. The team continues to be a fixture at the top of the global CS ranking, celebrating major triumphs in 2024, including victories at both the Esports World Cup and the Copenhagen Major. Their golden era arguably came in 2021, a year defined by the dominance of Simple. Obviously, if you know anything about Counter-Strike, or really esports in general, you know about Simple, one of the greatest CSGO players in history, now competing for FaZe Clan. He's like on loan for them right now. During that time, Na'Vi secured the Stockholm Major title and completed the prestigious Intel Grand Slam, solidifying their legacy. Beyond Counter-Strike, Na'Vi has expanded its presence into a range of competitive titles. They have teams in Valorant, Mobile Legends Bang Bang, PUBG, Apex, TFT, and Dota 2. Their Dota division made a historic splash in 2011 by winning the first ever edition of the International. Shortly after entering the game's competitive scene, Na'Vi also has a past in League of Legends, having previously participated in the now defunct LCL, the former Russian regional league. Their LOL division was dissolved in 2017, but that could change soon. A potential return to League of Legends ecosystem would mark Na'Vi's comeback after 8 years, this time at the EMEA Elite level. So very, very exciting news for the LEC. We now know who's going to be replacing Rogue, we know when it's going to be happening, and we have a pretty damn good organization coming in, so that is some hype stuff. But as always, everything we do here at Sheep Esports is powered by Holy. These are great tasting energy drinks that also just so happen to be healthier than the competition. So check out that first link in the description below. Use those discount codes SE5 and SE10 today to get yourself a nice little discount on Holy, but also to help support everything we're doing here at Sheep Esports. We would appreciate it a ton. With that being said, hopefully catch you guys in the next one. Until then, peace.